Welcome to the Farming Without the Bank podcast, the show with a no BS approach to money, hosted by a farm strategy expert and authorized IBC practitioner. Join us as we get real and expose the flaws of traditional financial institutions in order to help farmers take control of their finances, create peace of mind, grow their wealth, and leave a legacy. Now, here's your host, Mary Jo Irmen.
Hello and welcome to today's podcast. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. I appreciate you being here. All right, today we are going to talk about the seen and the unseen. Oh, I've had this question come up a lot lately. And I talked about it today with a client, so I thought, you know what? It's going to make a great podcast. Let's just get that thing recorded. Plus, I need to, have some podcasts for y'all to listen to. So if I've already talked about this, I apologize for repeating myself. I don't believe I've actually talked about the seen and unseen, which is what Nelson talks about in Becoming Your Own Banker. So for those of you that have not read Becoming Your Own Banker by R. Nelson Nash, I just ask why? Why haven't you? If you've read my book, but you've not read his book, why, and why? So go get it. Go to farmingwithoutthebank.com and just go get it because you should have it. And that is the origination of everything. He was the master. And that's who I learned from. And that's who you should be learning from as well. But Nelson talks about the seen and the unseen. And a lot lately, I've been getting questions about what is the policy earning? What is that guaranteed rate that I'm earning? And what am I paying interest on the policy? And, every company's interest rate is a little different on what we pay. And there is a formula to figure the guaranteed rate. And so that formula is determined by how quickly the policy must endow. Meaning, at what point does the policy cash value have to equal the death benefit? That's either at age 100 or age 121. Depending on when your policy was issued and all this good stuff. So things have changed recently compared to probably 15 years ago. So there's a rate that it's guaranteed to grow because it must endow. And people get so hung up on what is the interest rate earning in the policy and what is the rate I'm paying, because that is why we talk about using the policy, the uninterrupted compound interest, which is great. Fantastic. We want uninterrupted compound interest. But does it matter if I have 10% uninterrupted compound interest or 3% uninterrupted compound interest? Maybe a little bit, right? The interest rate that we borrow against the policy matters because there's a net difference there. But we are not thinking about the unseen, which is what Nelson talks about. If we can borrow against our money and invest it in land, invest it in equipment, invest it in cows, invest it in hair sheep. That's the new thing I've been working on. Invest it in hair sheep. Whatever else we can do to make us money, if we can invest it in those things, what's that rate of return? Well, that's the unseen that Nelson is talking about. How much more rate of return can we have investing it in something else and allowing it to be in the policy? So people will say, well, I would rather put it in the stock market because I can make a bigger rate of return. Well, then put it in the policy first, borrow against the policy and put it in the stock market. Go buy your stocks when they're low and it's a super duper buy, right? Go buy your stocks when it's a super duper buy. This is an and asset, not an or asset. And with the and asset comes what? The unseen. We have to think bigger than what the numbers in the policy are. We get so caught up in those numbers, and I've talked about this before, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but we get so wrapped up in the numbers that we forget about the fact that that's liquid money with guarantees attached to it, control of payback. We have all these amazing opportunities that we can still use the money and provide a death benefit to our family. Another reason Nelson calls it infinite, the infinite banking concept. The amount of things you can do are infinite. So don't get so caught up in those numbers, and remember there's a lot of stuff back there that is unseen. This is something that is in his book. And if you're just reading my book, again, why? Because there's so many things that I did not repeat in my book because my book was not meant to replace Nelson's. So there's a lot of things in his book that are great. It's great information. Are you paying yourself back? Are you stealing the peas? Ooh, what does that mean? Stealing the peas? I don't know. Maybe go get Nelson's book. And I just love it when people are like, oh, you're just peddling books. Oh, you're just trying to make money selling books. Yeah, because that's going to make me rich. That's going to change the world. What's changing the world is teaching the concept. But we have to start with the books. Okay, I'm sorry there's a spine and it's called a book and not a magazine. There are audio books for everything. Even Nelson's book is an audio. So grab the audio. You can go to infinitebanking.org and grab the audio. I do not have the audio on my website. So think about that. We don't always need to be concerned about rates of return. That is just a market thing. And now with the market doing what it's doing, we just love to focus on that. Well, this is what my average is. And then we talk about actual, and then we talk about fees and all this other stuff. We are not tied to the market. We don't do anything about the market. When we were doing some training this week, it was the other people that I was training with were like, oh yeah, this is what's going on with the market. And they were agents that are watching the market, and I haven't even looked at it. I have no need to look at it because I have money in cash value. So I have no need to look at it because my money's doing just fine. But the market is, I don't understand the Dow. I don't understand the S&P. I don't really care to understand it because I'm all about liquidity control and guarantees. Those three things. And you have heard me say them before. You will hear me say them over and over and over and over because it's all that matters to me. In the 10 years that I knew Nelson, I never heard him talk about a rate of return. I never heard him talk about the stock market. Never. Because it wasn't about that for him. It was about opportunity. I don't need to go up against the market. I don't need to try to prove myself against an IRA or a 401k. If you want to put your money there, fantastic, put it there. If you want a rate of return in the policy, yeah, might be a little bit important to know that our money is still liquid and growing and all this good stuff. Does it matter exactly how much it's growing if we can borrow against it and still have the control and have all the unseen going on? I don't think that it is. I don't think that it's that important. And let me tell you, this was not easy for me to get over because I too came from the typical noise of rates of return, right? It's so easy to forget the unseen. It's not in our face. The noise isn't in our ears. It's funny when I see famous individuals and they're playing in the stock market and they're doing all this stuff in the market. Do you think they have in the market what they could afford to lose, or do you think it's play money? We were talking about this in training with other agents as well. And one of the agents said, my buddies are putting money in the market and they're buying, and it's their play money. And another agent said, well, ask them what they want to do with their serious money, if they want to put that in a life insurance policy. Ooh, that was a great statement. Because what do we put in the market? Either our life savings, because it's all we think we can put in the market, and we end up losing our life savings, or people that are wealthy are not putting their life savings in the market. They're only putting in the market what they want to play with. It's not their serious money. Their serious money is going to things like real estate or cash value life insurance, right? So that they can be building stuff. They can be making money. What do you want to do with your serious money? Are you buying land with it? Or are you worried about a rate of return? What's your rate of return on the farm? How many of you are figuring that out, but then you want to know what the rate of return on the policy is? If we have a negative rate of return on the farm, wouldn't it be okay to have whatever rate of return is earning in the policy based on our age and mortality and all this other stuff versus just what we're making on the farm? There's a lot there to think about, and it's noise that is just jumping in our ears all the time. ROR, ROR, ROR. Stop the noise. Did you hear that? I'm not a good singer. Okay, I do believe that I beat that horse to death. And this is going to be a little shorter podcast, but I just can't, I'm not going to keep beating the dead horse. Think about the unseen. It's like all the awesome unseen things your spouse does for you. Like maybe, packing a lunch, I guess you can see. But all the unseen things that they do. What are those unseen things? What are those awesome things that you get as a bonus to stuff that you're doing? Okay. There's so many awesome things that people do for us that we don't see. Pay attention to those things, but just because a noise is out there doesn't mean that those are the things that we have to pay attention to. We get to choose what we're seeing and what we're doing. Okay, all. I hope that you enjoyed that podcast. If you have other ones that you want to discuss, please email me, MaryJo, at withoutthebank.com, and I am happy to address those. I know a lot of my topics on here are farming, but that doesn't mean that they have to be farming related. So if you're a business owner, if you are just an employee contributing money to a 401k or IRA, and you have questions, still let me know, whatever it is, and I'm happy to answer those because I also have the book Wealth Without the Bank or Wall Street. So if you are not a farmer or you have someone in your life who is not a farmer, you can always go to Farming Without the Bank and get them Wealth Without the Bank or Wall Street. I do have another website that I don't talk about a lot, but it's just withoutthebank.com, and all the books are on there as well. But that site is more for the non-farmers. So anyway, let me know. Keep the reviews coming. I very much appreciate them, and I appreciate you for tuning in. And you guys have a fantastic day.
Thanks for listening to the Farming Without the Bank podcast. We hope today's episode has inspired you to take control of your finances in new ways. Don't forget to check out our website, farmingwithoutthebank.com, and engage with us on our Facebook page, Farming Without the Bank. Join us next week as we smash more financial myths and empower you to accomplish your financial goals.